Welcome to Overlooked. My name is Pooja Advani. My guest today is a person who moved to India with two of his pets. Today, he is a founder of Kalote Animal Trust, which houses more than 350 animals. His love and compassion for animals is incomprehensible. He is Sameer Vohra. Hi, Sameer.
Hi.
Welcome to Overlooked.
Thank you.
Tell me, how did Kalote come about?
Well, actually, I was in Lonavala first, where I was with about 150 animals, not having it as a trust, just doing it privately.
So you just had 150 animals with you in
At
Lonavala?
home, yes.
At home?
Yes.
And these were animals that you rescued?
Yeah. So it's Kalote Animal Trust has happened just a year and a half ago.
Okay.
When we were able to buy land because we were running out of space, and friends of mine said, no, it's time to make it a trust. It'll be easier to have support, easier to get funds. So we bought the place, built, moved with 150 animals, and a year and a half later we're at 350 almost.
So these 150 animals that you had previously, before Kalote Trust was founded, how did you basically rescue them, or they were just sent to you? What was the functionality at that point of time?
That being Lonavala had a lot of, there were no vets in Lonavala,
Right.
so a lot of the accident cases, a lot of puppies, no shelter there before, no shelter really. So a lot of the cattle that were roaming, lots of calves in the monsoons, lots of donkey babies in the monsoons, puppies, kittens. It's only a year before I moved to Kalote did people start sending me animals because they got to know about me.
Okay.
But also because Lonavala has so many farmhouses,
Right.
which keep dogs, and the Mali gets tired of it and says, all right, I'm going to go dump it somewhere. So dumping place was market, and I lived quite close to the market. So lots of animals from there, basically puppies. Now, of course, it's much better. There is sterilization happening there. So the number of stray animals are reducing, not the cattle, but at least the dogs are not producing as much now. And then Kalote happened. So we moved, registered it as a trust, and just kept growing now.
So now you are at about 350.
Yeah.
And what are the kind of animals that you have?
So we have dogs, cats, cattle, goats, sheep.
Name it.
Ponies, donkeys, horses, mule, pigs, emus, monkeys.
So these are all rescued? All of them? They have all been in the field of either they've been working in the industry or they've been...
So there are a lot of course, just from the road, which are the Indies, or the Indian cattle, which are accident cases,
right,
or calves that have been separated from their mom. The donkeys have obviously worked places,
right,
and have come in. The pigs found by me or by friends of mine in Lonavala. So all my pigs are from Lonavala. Goats, sheep, people just keep sending. Emus, I've got turtles, and now monkeys.
Yeah.
So a lot of kites, pigeons, crows.
So they keep coming in.
Yeah. So a lot of them come from. A lot of animals come from SPCA.
Okay.
And then of course private rescuers,
right,
who pick up and call.
So what are the challenges as a trust, or as
staff?
Staff will be your
Yes,
biggest
staff
challenge.
is a big issue. Trained staff, because you have to sit and train and you don't know how long they're going to stick around. It's hard work. It's not just sitting in an office. It's really hard work.
I mean, understandably, you've got
Yeah.
350
So like
lives to
a
take
lot
care.
of cattle manure,
Right.
you know, has to be moved every day. It's the same thing
Right.
every day. You're getting up, you know exactly what you have to do. There's medicines, there's sick animals that need to come to Bombay maybe to our vet. And then of course getting funds, your food, summer, which is a very bad time for us because majority of my animals are grazing animals.
Right.
So everything dries up and
Right.
there is nothing to eat. So it's really, really tough time in summer because you have to buy everything.
Right.
So your cost goes up and stuff is getting more expensive. Monsoon comes with its own problems where you have skin issues or you have, you got to keep the goats dry because they don't do well in the monsoons. Cats don't like the monsoons. And you're getting in a lot of animals because a lot of calves are born just before the monsoons.
Okay.
It's natural because they deliver so that by the time the calf starts eating, it's going to be green around.
Right.
So people are trying to send in and you're trying to take in as many as you can. And some say you have to say no. But a lot of people want to try and send you the old dogs because it's tough for them on the roads. So those are the most problems that we have.
So in terms of Kalote usage has just been, it's fairly new.
Yeah.
It's fairly new in terms of time frame.
Yeah.
But you've been doing this far before
Yes.
this. So
18 years.
You've been doing this for?
18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
But
I came back in 2000.
You came back? Yes, actually, yeah, you moved in 2000.
Yes.
So in terms of when you have to refuse an animal, or maybe you're coming into a space where, hey, I can't take in anymore because I can't.
No, so right now we are not at that point. I
Right.
say no because for me it is more about, will I be able to give that animal a better life?
Right.
It's not just about taking in and taking in all, because I don't want to get crowded. And I don't want to be one of those places where the dogs have to fight for space to sit. Or so if I feel I can give it a better life, if I can get it better than what it had, then why not?
Right.
But if I feel like, no, I can't do justice for that animal, then I'm not going to do it. So I'm not comfortable with like paralyzed animals. I will not take them in. One, because I don't have the space for them to roam around in a cart.
Right.
And I don't have that much time to give to one individual animal that needs extra care, where you have to put it in the cart and strap it up and stuff like that. So I won't take it in. I will take in what I feel I can do good for.
So what are the misconceptions people have of a shelter? Where, especially when these are animal shelters, a lot of people probably you'll be having in.
Yeah, that it's very easy, that we play with puppies and kittens all day. That it's being done for money. That we're very mean because we say no to an animal. So basically, people don't understand what goes into the running of a shelter. I mean, you give up everything. You give up friends, you give up family, you give up going out, your social life, everything. It's given up because you're there constantly. And it's quite difficult for everybody to say, okay, chalo, I'll come and spend time with you at the shelter, because yeah, all my friends are animal lovers, my family is, but they're fine with 2 dogs.
Right.
They're not fine with 65 dogs coming at you, or a pig trying to get into the house, or it's not so easy to be there. Maybe smells, flies, whatever it is. Some people don't like to see sick animals, and that's what we have. We have the maimed, the ones whose eyes are missing eyes, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a bit much for most people. So it's not that easy to just run a shelter.
True.
And especially for people who live there.
Right.
So there are shelters where people don't live there. They have staff. I don't know how it runs, because I can't imagine my shelter running without me or somebody who I know. So I'm sure people do it, but for us who actually live there, it's very hard.
It must be not only financially but also emotionally.
Yeah,
at some
emotionally,
levels.
because you're so many times you're getting in animals that you know are gonna go,
Right.
very soon. Like if I get in a dog that is, say, 13 or 14, has lived on the streets all its life, so has gone through the hardships, come to me probably because deaf or blind, and the feeder feels, I don't want it to die on the streets now,
Right.
because it can't hear cars or it can't see. So comes to me. Of course, you get to know them. You bond. You have to give medicines. You're feeding them, and some of them are there for a month. Some of them are there for maybe a year, and they're gone. So that time is short. So many animals come in and they don't make it.
Right.
So it's like a sprinkle of joy every now and then. Most of the time, it's sad. You're dealing with sick animals. You're dealing with animals that are dying. Cruelty when they come in. The fact that they've gone through so much. But there are the great moments where you win so many.
True. Yeah.
You win when they actually come up to you or let you touch them. It is a great feeling.
So in terms of like you brought up cruelty.
Yeah.
Do you come across a lot of cruelty cases?
Yes.
And have you somewhere noticed a rise in them?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
And
with now it's not just dogs, cats. I mean, you're seeing it with so many animals, wild animals, where people are buying them, keeping as pets, and don't know how to look after them, don't know what it is, whether it's size of enclosure or cage, or whether it is they don't even know what to feed the animal. Dressing them up, that could be cruelty, for a primate, because they're not kids.
right.
They are animals. So there's lots more cruelty. It's the dogs, cats, cattle. I mean, you name it.
But why do you think the cruelty is on the rise? I mean, of course, there's one part of it.
I think the laws.
Yes, I was coming to
definitely
that.
The laws have
one
to be.
part of it is the laws that are not probably strong enough.
It's got to get stricter. Yeah.
But what would be the other factor that you will actually say that this is directly proportional to why cruelty is on the rise?
I think awareness. I think the fact that people have not been told that it's not okay to keep an animal like that, or that you cannot keep a monkey as a pet, or that people don't know about these exotic animals that are coming in, yeah, they're nice to look at, but they're not supposed to be in this country. You know, they're not supposed to be, well, they're probably not even supposed to be kept as pets to begin with.
I mean, to begin with, yes.
Yeah, but even the breed dogs, I mean, I think it's to be explained to them that no, this dog should not be in this country.
You're one of the few places that actually opens up to the giant breeds.
Yes.
You are one of the few places
Yes.
that has the giant
I
breeds.
do.
And your
I have,
main...
5 Danes.
Yes, and I was coming to that. Your Saint Bernard that
2
you
Bernards.
have. Yeah.
Yes.
And they were all basically abandoned, or they were...
Yeah, well, one of my Bernard was tied up to a lamppost in Khandala, left to die. We found her as an adult at, I think she was 21 kilos. And she's 63 now.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was really, really bad. Maggot wounds, biting at that moment because she was in pain.
Of course.
And probably one of the farmhouse owners who, you know, didn't have the time to look after or didn't know. And the caretaker has dumped the animal. And that's how she's come. The other Bernard actually was rescued by a friend of mine, Niharika. She sent him to me because he was not looked after at all. You know, so yeah, Danes, again, owner can't look after, biters, found on the highway. So yeah, somehow I can't say no to the big breeds because I feel like, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
And if they do go, do people know about how to care for them? I mean, a lot of people who have Danes don't even know that the dog is not supposed to be fed off the floor.
Right.
You know, you got to elevate the food. They're not aware of it. They don't know about it.
Basically, because they're so high up, the neck issues start eventually.
And they inhale so much air when they're eating off the floor. People don't know about this. They've not been told, I guess, by the breeders. There are a lot of vets that are not so, who don't know stuff that vets who have traveled abroad would know, you know?
I mean, in terms of these cases that you see where people are absolutely unaware of what they're actually getting into, what are the kind of awareness programs you actually suggest should be inculcated? Maybe in school itself.
Yeah. So I think definitely as to why Indian breeds are better than getting a dog from abroad, that should be told, because yes, you can't deny puppies are very cute. They're very cute, especially if you look at a breed puppy compared to our Indies. They're fluffier, they're bigger. But at the end of the day, it is a puppy. It's still going to grow up into a dog, and it's still going to love you the same. So it's most of the time the kids that do want a pet. So get them to understand why it's better to get an Indie. They're much easier to look after. They're much hardier. They have way less health issues than the breed dogs.
Well, that's also because they're not from the climate,
Correct.
right?
So they've already been acclimatized.
Yes.
And once the younger generation gets that, they're not going to ask for the breeds. Same with exotic pets. You know, how difficult is it to look after? A lot of times, you know, financial issue comes in where people didn't realize how much it's going to cost to keep a big dog or an exotic bird. It's not cheap. I mean, their diets are insane when it comes to variety.
But exotic animals are not supposed to be pets.
Yes,
And
but they do
exotic-
have them.
Yes, so exotic animals, and
because
that's where
again the law doesn't say that you can't have it. They are there, and at least get them aware of what is to be done.
How do we do that awareness in terms of, firstly, of course, the laws?
Yeah.
I've had a very extensive conversation with my other guests about
Yes.
the laws in terms of how we need to strengthen them and how they need to really, really be amended and then implemented.
Yes.
I think
that's the harder
part is
Yes.
that the implementation of
is
these
getting
laws.
out there.
But in terms of they're here, and we've had certain practices that have been ensured that new ones don't really
Yes.
come, but they're still coming somewhere through
Yes.
your back channels.
Yeah.
But
Now they're being bred here, so.
then it goes down to breeding, because
Yeah.
it's now gone into excessive breeding,
Yes.
which
And bad breeding.
which leads to bad breeding,
Yes.
which leads to more kind of health
More
issues.
Yes.
How do we actually go down, per se, to families who are considering pets? And see, awareness programs, there has to be multiples.
Yes.
It cannot just be, oh, let's go down just to schools
Yes.
and talk to them.
I think, gotta have places where we can have these awareness programs where, you have vets who know what it is for exotics, or and they can give the best advice, because at the end of the day, that's what they've studied, that's what they know. Come out to shelters. People need to come more to shelters. See what the animals have gone through, and think about why you really want that pet. There's no reason to have it. You can have an Indian dog. You can get there's so many that need a home. Why do you need to get that dog? And there are people that actually change.
Right.
A lot of people do come and realize that, okay, this is not easy. I think we'll just stick to getting a indie rather than getting a lab, because are you able to give that kind of exercise to the dog? Are you able to? Do you have that much space? Are you okay with fur all over? So they get it. They do get it. It just takes time and a lot of patience.
True.
To keep saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, you have to.
So basically, you started this whole primates thing with
Dr. Deepa.
With Dr. Deepa.
Yes.
And y'all are now working with the forest department in terms of if there is any case.
We have monkey catchers now.
Right.
That if people call us, we can send them there.
Right. So we're talking about humanization of every animal, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen that trend kind of rising. A lot of people are going out for pets instead of children.
Yes.
And personally, I somehow have a conflict with that because
they're not children.
They're not children.
Yeah.
And how much can you humanize an animal? I mean, being animal lovers, being absolute ardent animal lovers of every kind, why is it that people kind of forget there is that they have certain kind of needs and they have to be kept in a certain way, and we can't actually humanize them?
Yeah, you can't do it.
But the thought process, I sometimes cannot, even with my clients, sometimes I have to tell them, it's a pet.
Yeah, it's a dog.
It's a pet.
At the end of the day, it is a dog.
Yeah,
yes.
You have to keep that boundary.
Yeah.
And
that's when
it's on the rise. The more people I'm meeting, the more I kind of come across this, and you're just sitting there and saying, I don't know what further can I say to you.
What are you doing?
But I cannot, for the life of me, I'm not being able to understand why.
Again, awareness that it's wrong. When people say, oh, but our dog loves kulfis. But look at the size of your dog. I mean, it's unhealthy. So, yeah, people just have to keep saying it. I don't know if we'll ever get over it. But I mean, I, for one, yeah, they're not. I can't say they're my baby. They're animals, and they're there, and I have to look after them. But yeah, I mean, even dogs, they spoil them, and then at the end of the day, when they get aggressive or uncontrollable, that's when it's time to give up the dog.
And that, again, coming back to the fact that we are seeing that it's going on a rise.
Yeah.
And it's just every day, everyone is getting tagged on various posts.
Yes.
That this dog is up for adoption and that dog is up for
Constantly.
In those kind of cases, what is your take and how do we tackle that problem?
Of?
Abandonment. I mean, this is a question I've asked throughout because I just wanted to understand the different takes.
I think if we as animal rescuers are not so harsh all the time.
What do you
I
mean
understand
by so harsh?
that we get very aggressive with people, where you're trying not to. I mean, a lot of time people are rude.
You're talking about the welfare people?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, or not approachable, you
Right.
know. And that's when I think people say, right, should we deal with that or should we just abandon the animal in a place where we know somebody's going to find them? So, yeah, come out and say, all right, if you really want to give up your animal, give us a reason, a legit reason, and let us help you home it,
So half the time the reasons are not legit.
All right, so then just let us help us home it.
If you actually
because
see...
for me, like if somebody says, oh, we have a dog for adoption, and I know somebody who's looking for a dog, I get them to do it straight.
I mean,
I don't even want the dog coming to the shelter.
Yeah, that's exactly even
because
how
once it comes to me, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, I mean, you have to kind of. There are a lot of people where help them. Maybe it is an actual problem where the dog is getting aggressive. Maybe they can't handle it. Maybe they're first time owners. Yes, they made a mistake. They got a breed that doesn't suit them. All right, help them. Provide that kind of help. Get them to understand that, okay, maybe sterilizing your dog will help. Get them to understand what they're doing wrong as owners. Get them to understand that it's not a baby.
Right.
That it is a dog.
Right.
And that it does need discipline and that it does need exercise and it does need to stimulate its mind, and that's why it's doing this. So yeah, I guess you gotta help.
Because you're right, in terms of a lot of like the cases that I kind of come across, especially huskies going violent.
Yeah.
It's basically
beagles that are biters.
Beagles that are biters. Now you've gone and got a working dog.
Correct.
That is basically needs that kind of, forget the physical stimulation. It needs the mental stimulation.
Yes.
So it needs to be occupied all the time.
Yeah.
And now you've taken him and put him in the house and nobody's at home.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing
and
with...
you have,
the help taking care.
Which is, not trained.
Yeah, so...
Your walker is probably not walking him.
Exactly. And then you're looking at this dog that is basically now gone berserk because he's just frustrated.
Yeah.
And then you have that. And the challenge that I have faced when I actually go down and speak to the owners like that, they have just turned around and said, oh, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why didn't you do your research before getting it? And then it brings me back to the kind of awareness programs we actually need to land up doing. And it doesn't end.
It does not.
It doesn't end.
It doesn't end.
And like even in this whole thing was, every person that has come here, I've asked them, what is the kind of awareness programs that we should actually do? And that's been my standard question. And my other one is the abandonment issue.
Yeah.
And I somewhere now sit down, and when I actually go back, I think there has to be a lot more that needs to come in as a unit.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is, but maybe in terms of coming from your perspective, what do you think it could be? Apart from doing educational programs that we are doing with children, or maybe having workshops that we do with first-time pet owners, what is it that actually that we can... sit down as a unit and tell these people that more of these cases don't happen?
I guess they got to go out and see what the animals go through. So maybe actually go to shelters and see what, find out what that animal goes through when it's abandoned. You'll see it. Go to SPCA and see the number of dogs that are there in cages, and they're just there. I mean, there are a lot of people working trying to get them adopted, but they're not getting there's so many that are not getting adopted. So people need to go out and see it. I think shelters need to come out and show it. Saying, hey, this is the reality of it. Whether it is donkeys working or horses that are being used for rides at hill stations where they're, work to no end. And then they come to us in that state. That's what we need to show. That's what we need to tell people, that this is what happens. This is how they end up. And at it's a shelter. We're not a 5-star hotel. So guess what? Saint Bernard is now staying at a shelter where we're trying to, keep the AC on all day. Hopefully, if lights don't go, it's not easy for us either. So
true.
It's not like your dog always ends up getting adopted if you've abandoned it. A lot of them die there on the streets, and then there are the few that do get rescued and I guess rescued, whether it is end up at a shelter or finally get homed.
And like we were talking earlier, that we're seeing a gradual rise.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere we are all going to peak out. There'll be only that many homes and there are only that many shelters that will take. And in terms of how do you think the shelters were basically functioning? And you just said that the shelters really need to come out and start talking about what is it like to run a shelter.
Yeah.
And what is it that is actually happening to the animals there? How would you want to do that?
Social media, I guess. People need to go out and do videos on shelters.
Right.
Bad enough we have to worry about the food and the staff and all those payments. Go out there, get a video done for them, help them out, and put it up on YouTube. Go and show it at schools. Instead of, sometimes we can't have the kids over, so go to the schools and do it for us. I think that's probably the best way to do it, is to go out there for others to do it. I mean, we can't.
Exactly. So basically,
we can't do everything. We can't be everywhere. So if others come in and say, right, let us do a video. We want to show it in schools. We want to show it at, let's say, events. That's where people will see it. Because, I mean, I'm not going to leave the shelter to go to a school and show a video.
Right, true.
It's not possible. So, yeah.
So basically, social media has, of course, brought everything to light a lot. A lot. Yeah. More than you want to really sometimes even know. I know that social media is working in positives and negatives. Yeah. It has its positives and it has its negatives. As you just said, that you come down to the shelter, show it on. So do you really think it can have a positive impact?
I'm sure it can. Yeah.
But it can work.
I mean, like I said, there'll always be those people who will cringe at the sight of some dog with, without a ear or whatever. But at the same time, they're still getting to know that it's there and it's happening. And that there are people working very hard to look after these animals. No matter what problems we have at the shelter, we're still doing it, day in and day out. So, and you never know, you might just pull at someone's heart. Maybe someone will say, oh, I had no clue, but okay, now I can help, or, that I want to help. It's a possibility.
In terms of younger generation, do you come across children with like a very simple thing that they probably would be questioning us, right? In terms of, hey, what are you doing? This is my future you're playing with.
Yeah.
And what is the kind of change that we should inculcate in them?
No, I think we gotta inculcate in the parents. Yeah, I think it's the parents who we need to change, because that is what is being passed on to the kid.
Right.
The kid is a clean slate. They'll learn whatever you tell them. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that parents in India are all parents in India are open to going to shelters, because they think, oh, there's so much infection and there's so much. Whereas abroad, you are taken to shelters. You're sent by schools where you have to do community service.
Right.
And a lot of kids go there and do it. I did it. I went to a shelter for community service.
I saw somewhere there was this article where children were reading stories to shelter dogs.
Yeah. And I think that's what needs to be told to kids, is that, you know what, you can do this. Maybe schools do community service. If it's being done abroad and you can't pass without your community service
X
done.
number of hours that you need to do.
Yes. So why not do it here?
Right.
You know, get parents to send the kids for weekends, you know, let them come and rough it out there. Let them clean up, you know, pick up some cow dung. It's fine. You're not going to get sick. Do it. So they know how hard it is for the animals. One, how hard it is for us to do this. Who knows? Maybe we get one kid out of all of them who says, I want to open a shelter and do it right. So
I think that's the way we kind of start inculcating impassion, empathy in our children.
Yes.
Which somewhere as...
Instead of taking them to a zoo,
right,
take them to a shelter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think the zoos need
to they need to go. Yeah, definitely.
They really need to go.
Yes.
So lastly, what is the message that you would like to say? I mean, you are in the heart of everything.
I think definitely have a plan. You know, when you're planning to pick up an animal, have a plan. Don't expect shelters to just say, yes, we will take it in. Don't call us up and shout at us saying that it's your job. You picked up the puppy. 90% of the time that puppy is not sick, there's nothing wrong with it. You felt bad and picked it up. Are you planning to take it home? And if not, then you shouldn't be picking up that puppy. You know, because you picked it up and then you're putting up a post saying, it's urgent, this is it. We've taken it, we've kept it for a month, now we can't look after it, and now no shelter is taking it in. You need to have a plan when you're doing a rescue. I opened a shelter because I didn't have space to keep my rescues. I'm not saying everyone can open a shelter or can run a shelter, but you know, before you pick up the animal, make sure you know where it's going. Because once you pick up that pup and keep it for a month, you can't put it back on the streets.
Very true.
And you cannot leave a kitten at a fish market. You know, it's not the thing to do. So help, you know, make sure you can sponsor that animal, because we don't have pots of gold sitting.
Right.
You know, if you're going to send an animal to a shelter, at least make that monthly donation. Don't think by giving 10,000 rupees that animal is going to be looked after for the rest of its life.
Right.
And then don't scream murder if something happens to the animal, because guess what? It is a life. And they do get sick, just like we get sick. And it just so happens to be that the animal is sick. Yes, it's being treated. But, okay, don't dogs at homes get sick? Don't cats at homes get sick? They do. So I'm sure they're going to get sick at a shelter. And yeah, come out. If you sent an animal, don't just sponsor it, but come out and help. You know, go get us other sponsors. Go and, if not sponsors, at least create awareness that we're there. You know, send people over to the shelter and who want to help, who want to.
I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think that's what's my message is. Don't think that it's that easy for us to just keep taking in animals. I mean, I don't agree that puppies and kittens should be in shelters anyways. So we have a very strict policy of no puppies and kittens.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, you're bringing it into an environment that has hit its share of infections. You know, why would you want to bring it into that?
And the immunity anyway is very low. Yeah.
I mean, the puppy's stressed, the kitten's stressed. You're bringing it into an environment which has its own share of infections. Not that, I mean, I have all my animals, most of my animals are healthy now. But it's that volume of animals, you know, and puppies pick it up. So I don't even think they should be at shelters in the first place. They're better off at fosters. They're better off in your home if you've picked it up. Keep it there. Find it a home and get it adopted. And know that the chances of getting adopted are almost as good as none. Because most people that adopt pick it up and say, oh, okay, let's just keep it. So your chances of that pet, of that pup getting adopted is tough. You work at it. You know, don't expect us to take your puppy for the adoption camp. You know, oh, the adoption camp is coming up, why don't you take it? No, you take it. Sit there. Sit there and make sure, try to get it adopted. Do the house checks. So yeah, I mean, basically that we've got a lot of work, you know, and we're tired. We're also,
and the work is increasing.
Yeah, the work is increasing.
It's not that it's getting any less.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to manage ambulances and staff and food and electricity and water and, you know, everything. So come out, help, do your bit. That would be it.
Thank you, Sameer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really insightful.
Thank you.
And we hope you can get all the help that you need.
Yes,
and
so.
We have the expansions for the primates especially, because we need that here.
Yes, we do.
We definitely need that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.